I do want to talk about sex. And I want to talk about sex in a few different ways, just in terms of why it's so good for, our own system as females.
Yeah.
And at different stages of the cycle, what that looks like and how we can communicate with our partners and start that conversation. Because I think once it's open, like you're always the example I think of with your husband, where it's like,
a lot of people tell me they think about me
course, right?
while they're having sex. Not about me in particular. Like, you come to mind when we're trying to figure out what to do.
Cool.
And I'm like, honestly, it's really cute.
It's like a digital threesome. You're like, okay.
Well, not exactly that intimate, but that I'm on your mind is nice. Certainly women having regular orgasm is hugely hormonally beneficial and health beneficial. Every time you are in orgasmic plateau, which is different from climax, and just to remind you, which I broke that down in my first book, Womanhood, but just as a quick recap, climax is like when the 8,000 nerve endings on your clitoris are like, I'm done, thank you, that was really good, I have now maxed out on pleasure, and you get that sort of like the sneeze at the end of the achu, right? The orgasmic plateau is the part before that. And if we think of climax as the 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, orgasmic plateau is like, anywhere from a 2 to an 8, right? You want to stay between a 4 and an 8. I would say for at least 20 minutes to get these kinds of benefits. Because what happens when you stay in that orgasmic plateau is you build nitric oxide and oxytocin, and these hormones have hugely endocrine supportive aspects, right? So you're going to boost your immune system. You're going to regulate ovulation. You're going to boost collagen production in your skin. It goes on and on. It flushes cortisol. It balances mood. It is just and I would say too, it helps. And I don't know if any of you experience this after you have like a really nice session where you have good quality time in the orgasmic plateau, and then you have a satisfactory climax, more than satisfactory, I'm hoping, that you feel like you're reset. Your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous systems are like reset. And that's really healing, right? Because that's why we do meditation. That's why we do yoga. That's why we go on retreats, is because we need to, decompress from the intensity of this high-paced, fast-paced life that we're in. Orgasm for women is like a free, quick, only positive way for you to help your body deal with all of the stress impacts of life. So that's hugely beneficial, but it's also hugely troubling that so many women are not having any of this experience, right? I was shocked at the statistic. If women in heterosexual relationships are mostly not having this experience, that coupled with not knowing how to optimize their pleasure response in the different cycle phases is a big problem, right? So we don't know that we're supposed to stay in orgasmic plateau, and then we have no idea how we're supposed to change our sexual approach in each phase to optimize our orgasm and our well-being. And this is good just for you. Of course, knowing this is important for you, and that's my priority, then of course you can take this into your relationship, which just makes everything, again, more effortless, more pleasurable. That is the whole point. That's why we call the book In the Flow. Like, my experience is I ask myself important questions during the day, like, am I in the flow or am I out of the flow, right? Is this serving me to be more in my flow, or is this taking me away from that? And just keeping that thought going, it really helps. And with relationships, it's like, okay, so he wants to go out to dinner with friends, and I'm in my second half of my luteal phase. And if I say yes, I'm going to be cranky. We're going to have a discussion later about it that's not going to be pleasant. And it's going to just take energy from me. It's going to take me out of the flow in myself and in our relationship. Why would I do that? It's not logical, right? So knowing what I need socially at that time, and of course now he knows, he wouldn't even suggest such a silly thing. He'd be like, "Oh, can I roast you a chicken? Can I? What should we watch on Netflix? No. Things like that." He knows kind of when to do the right things, and of course we built this into the MyFlow app, so he doesn't have to remember this. He gets the partner sync emails like everybody else, so he knows which phase I'm in and what to do.
Love that shit. Genius.
I And which foreplay to
Have you seen Justin up for it?
No.
They love it, by the way.
to.
In fact, when we beta tested the app, before we launched it in 2017, a lot of women were really concerned about, I don't know if I should put my boyfriend or my husband on this. All the women in same-sex relationships are like, oh yeah, she of course wants to do this information. But the women were like, I don't know if my boyfriend can handle it. He might think it's gross or weird. And I was like, well, in order for you to be part of the beta launch, you have to, that's part of the thing. We need to test that it's working and that, So they did it reluctantly. And then seriously, a month later, I would get a flood of emails from husbands and boyfriends being like, you just saved our relationship. I've been wanting this information my whole life. I knew it was out there because men know viscerally that they have a pattern. Because by the way, they're always working with their male flow. They're always in their flow. They've organized the entire world, the corporate America, the way everything is all organized around what works really well for their optimal hormonal well-being. They're like, why aren't you ladies doing this, right? We want to interface with that information.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Morning Microdose by Almost 30.
We hope you enjoyed waking up.
As always, we encourage you to take what resonates and leave the rest. If you enjoyed this trip, tune into the full episode on the Almost 30 podcast. All episode information can be found in the show notes.
Make sure to subscribe, and if this becomes a part of your morning routine, be sure to share it with a friend. We have new inspiring doses Monday through Friday. Follow us on Instagram at Morning Microdose, and follow Almost 30 at Almost 30 Podcast.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the vortex.